Here we are with Marc. I would like you to introduce yourself and tell us your relationship with this plant, with this medicinal plant that is called San Pedro or wachuma.
It's called San Pedro, it's called wachuma, it's called aguacoya. A lot of people like to refer to the active ingredient, which is mescaline. And it's a relationship that started quite a few years ago, and the gentleman was here, and he had a bag of San Pedro powder that he had brought from South Africa, of all places.
How many years ago?
This must have been about 12 years ago, yes. And so I started taking it, and it was amazing. It was like, just made me feel really, really good. I wasn't taking full doses, but just enough to, it was like turning on the light to reality. And just looking around and seeing how everything is made of beauty. To actually see that reality is constructed of beauty, and it's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. So eventually I ran out of that San Pedro, and for a few years we went in a different direction. Got involved a little bit with ayahuasca and different experiences, but the San Pedro was always there in the background somewhere, and then some friends were making little microdosing drops, which were actually pretty light, but okay. So somehow I managed to make that connection again, and at levels that were very, very subtle, but I could even that little bit, by taking it every day, it made a big, big difference in my life, physically, psychologically, just in general. And then 5 years ago, I finally went to Peru, and I made my direct connection with the plant. It was very interesting. I mean, I could not find anybody to really teach me or show me what to do with it, but I was learning directly from the plant itself. It was teaching me, it was showing me, it was guiding me. So when I was coming back, I wanted to bring some with me, and one of my maestros told me, let's go ask for the apus, the great mountain spirits, for permission. I mean, I could have just gone to the market and bought it and put it in my bag, but okay. So I thought it was a nice thing to do. So we went up to mountain, and we made an offering, a despacho. And at the moment I received a message. And the message was, you take this and you give it to everybody. You just put it in their mouth. No ceremonies, no stories, no complications. You don't put yourself between the plant and the people. The cactus is a lot smarter than you or anybody else. You just put it in their mouth. So I came back, and that's what I started doing. Finding ways to take it every day, like more practical, easier ways. In the beginning I was making teas and bringing it to events, but the tea goes bad pretty quickly, and it's a lot to drink and doesn't taste very good. And little by little I developed different ways of taking it, which are easier, faster, but the most important thing, trying to make it taste good, so it'll be more pleasant to take, because some people say that it has to taste bad for it to really work. Well, I don't believe in that. You can make things nice.
You feel that you came from Peru with a mission. Can you call this mission?
You can call it a mission, but I consider it more a privilege. I consider it a true privilege to be able to do this. It's a blessing. Yeah, I'm the most fortunate person in the world for being able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the cactus is very, very powerful. But the cactus doesn't have hands, doesn't have feet, doesn't have a mouth. So I'm just letting him use mine.
Mm.
And sometimes I feel like I've just become a passenger in my life while the cactus does what it needs to do. And it's great.
How does the San Pedro works for? What's this appliance or uses?
The San Pedro, taking it the way that I take it and sharing it the way that I share it is what is called microdosing these days, which is very, very fashionable. To me, it's like taking it like you would take a normal medicine, taking a little pill every day, small quantities. I don't go for large doses or for psychedelic experiences. I think a slow build-up is a much more effective long-term therapeutic. And it's also a lot easier because it's a lot easier to manage, anybody can do it, it's very, very, very safe. And in all my work, the thing that's always been the most important thing is safety. I've been increasing the doses a little bit, little by little, to make sure there's no bad side effects. And there's never been, like, I've given this to a lot of people. Every day, you know, I give a little bit to everybody. Everybody that I ran to, all my friends, they know what's coming out. As soon as it's like, hi, how are you? And thousands of people ranging from very, very small children to very old people. There has never been a bad side effect. It's the safest substance I've ever come across. It's safer than coffee. It's safer than anything that I know of.
You explained us before that it works for very different conditions. For a person that is, let's say, okay, it improves your mood, but it also improves for sleeping, for insomnia, and also for children. You say for children with PTSD. With
not PTSD.
No, sorry.
Yeah, children. Most children don't have PTSD, fortunately.
No, I misspelled the.
Yeah. So we might have to edit that a little bit.
Don't worry.
Yeah. Yes, and interestingly enough, now that I am sure that it's safe, I feel very comfortable trying it for different conditions and different things. The most incredible and interesting how do I want to say this? The most incredible and beautiful application that right now a few people are trying is for autism. There are some parents that have been giving very small doses to children with autism or children with ADHD, like hyper running around, and the results have been incredible. The anxiety is gone, the stress is gone. All this tendency to flip out, just everything gets smoothed out. It's just a serenity and this peace that the plant gives. And for all the work I've done, nothing gives me the satisfaction that I get when one of these children just comes up to me and hugs me. I just start crying. And that to me is what this is all about. Making people feel better.
It is any scientific studies for this? for this artistic?
It depends on what you consider a scientific study. There is no scientific studies for San Pedro or mescaline in general, and the ones that there are very, very small. I mean, if we want to look, for example, even the work that, for example, MAPS is doing with MDMA, even all their trials and their tests have been with a few people, a few dozen people. Is that a real study? I've been doing a real life study with thousands of people for years. Not scientific maybe, but observational. And I believe this has a lot of validity. Again, starting with the emphasis, is this safe? And it is. Now, once you know it's safe, okay, then you can make experiments, real life experiments, which is what I've been doing.
But even being safe and being useful and powerful, you are not very agree about this decriminalization or legalization of San Pedro and other psychedelics. Why?
I think all these things, the problem with legalization, it comes with regulation. Lots of regulation and lots of complications and ways to monetize it, which basically get between the plant and the people. So I'm not for any kind of bureaucracy. I'm not for any kind of complications. Like the cactus told me, you just put it in their mouth. Don't get in the way. And all this is just getting in the way. I do believe that San Pedro should be illegalized, and it should even be classified potentially as a nutritional supplement. As a supplement, the only thing you have to show is that it's safe. And believe me, this is safe, especially at the doses we're talking about, very, very small doses. Even in a ceremonial dose or an excessive dose, there is no overdose with this. There is no way of taking an overdose. But even like with an incredibly strong dose that somehow somebody managed to take, it might be super, super, super intense, but the next day you'll feel better. So, I mean, the burden of safety can be proven.
One of the main difference with San Pedro and other plants like ayahuasca or even like peyote is that you can grow at home in very different climates. Is that correct? So I think one of the points here is that you can grow your own medicine. Is that right?
Well, it would take some time to grow your own medicine, but one of the wonderful things about San Pedro is that it grows in so many different places. Like I said, my first one was from South Africa. In Australia, you have a lot. Europe, you have some pretty impressive plantations also. But actually, my crazy idea of how to get San Pedro out there, because to make it available to everybody. Playing around with the plant, I realized that the interior of the plant, the white part, which usually gets discarded back to Pachamama, like they say in Peru, is actually very, very, very useful. The gel from the plant is like aloe vera, but much, much more powerful. It's like aloe vera with turbo. Everything that aloe vera, they say, does, and it kind of does, this one really works. So my crazy idea was basically start making cosmetics with the interior of the plant, which actually from a business point of view, you can actually make a lot more money from that than from the medicine part. So basically, if people start growing San Pedro all over the place for cosmetic purposes, and the outside part, the green stuff, would become discarded. which is where the medicine is.
Mm.
In the same way that with aloe vera, you have to take out the green part on the outside because it has aloe in, which is toxic. Imagine aloe vera actually is more toxic than San Pedro.
Mm. Mm.
The aloe in aloe vera, the outside part is toxic.
Mm.
This San Pedro is not.
Mm. Mm. But actually, you are doing this nice flavor because we just tried it, San Pedro for microdose. You are not selling it, but you are not also sharing the recipe, for instance. For
Well, I'll be very happy to share
Yeah.
the recipe.
Yeah.
I'll be just, I don't have anything. I don't have any secrets.
Mm.
Everybody has their secrets. I don't. I'm very, very happy. The important thing to me is that San Pedro gets out there. People learn how to use it, how to take it, how to make it easier on themselves, so they take more of it. I'm very happy with this.
Mm-hmm. What's for you the difference between having every single day or having one ceremony once a month, for instance, like a
Well,
big dose?
A big dose, I don't do that really anymore, but a big dose is like a roller coaster ride. It's like, wow, shoo, wow. It's incredible.
Mm.
While taking it every day is like a little choo-choo train. Tuk, 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 tuk. Just keeps going up and up and up and up, and you build it up. In the same way, you would take an antidepressant or something like that, a mood elevator. You take a little bit every day and you build it up in your system.
Mm.
Now, taking it this way, it can basically replace most psychiatric medication. It is more effective than antidepressants. It is more effective than most anti-anxiety medicines out there. It is more effective than most mood elevators out there without any side effects. And that's also one of the reasons I believe that it's always been kept on the side, because it'll basically take out a big chunk of pharmaceutical business. MDMA, LSD, ketamine, all these other things. Yes, they also work in different ways, but they also have their side effects.
Mm. Some of them are addictive also.
Some of them are addictive, some of them are very dangerous to stop taking. This one is not. San Pedro is anti-addictive. Actually, the more you take, the less you want to take.
Mm. Mm.
I have to make myself take it very often. I mean, as wonderful as it's been for me, I have to say, okay, today I got to take it.
Mm.
Sometimes I do need to take a break because you're always present, you're always here with it.
Mm.
So when I decide to take a break, like the first 2 or 3 days, it's almost like a relief. I can relax a little bit. And then after 3 or 4 days, I feel myself like I'm kind of slipping back into whatever my reality is, where things are like all this darkness and confusion and things going wrong. And so after about a week, I have to start taking it again.
You went to Peru and you discovered there that there is no such a tradition for the wachuma as it is for the ayahuasca there in the Amazon, yeah?
Yeah, no, well, it doesn't seem to be a tradition. There doesn't seem to be, it's used, but I did not find any traditional or the knowledge. The knowledge has not been handed down. The plant's still there. But for some reason, the knowledge is not, the ones that know keep the secret to themselves, because for whatever reason they want to keep it to themselves. And but most people are just sharing medicine as a way to, as a little business.
One last question, because this is for the Plataforma of Defensa de la Ayahuasca. I know you've been involved with ayahuasca for a while, and after your encounter with San Pedro, you decided not to go on with this camino. I'd like to ask you, what's your opinion about the industry at the ayahuasca ceremonies that are happening now?
About ayahuasca itself, to me, ayahuasca, I mean, I do have a lot of respect for ayahuasca, but to me, ayahuasca is a grandmother who's always there, nya, 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 and telling you what to do, na, 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 na. Well, San Pedro is the grandfather who's always there. He's walking with you, holding your hand. He lets you fall, then he helps you pick it up. Plays little tricks on you, but he just wants you to be to feel good. Just wants you to be happy. Just kindness. Ayahuasca, I find, has a lot of darkness. As far as the industry in general, and this applies to San Pedro ayahuasca, mushrooms, to everything. I like to call it the shamanic entertainment industry. And it is an industry. It's about making money with plants. With all the pretense of like helping people and doing good for people. It's all business. Mercenaries. Sorry, but I think most people in your platform probably might be a little, but yeah, you have to accept that. I mean, even I feel bad at the very low level that there is money involved in the work that I do, even for a little that there is. It bothers me. Sometimes people buy it from me. To me, it bothers me. It doesn't give me any pleasure. Give me pleasure when I share it. When it brings me money, okay. I finally had to accept it because that's the way to get it out to further and further. So I kind of didn't quite make peace with the money part of it, but called a truce with it. And okay, it's helping me get it out more. People don't understand it if it's free. It's weird.
Can I just ask?
No, you can't.
Is smiling, asking a question to Marc.
Yeah.
What do you think the mission of San Pedro is in the world, of the cactus?
To make people feel better. Not to cure anything. We're not talking about healing. We're not talking about curing. We're talking about making you feel better. Because that's what it does. No dramas, no stories. This is going to make your life better.
And how do you think that is different from the other plants? Or would you say it's the same for all plants?
Well, each plant works in a different way. We go back to the point that this is the safest one, as far as I know. Doesn't do anything bad. All it does is good. Maybe it does nothing. Maybe it doesn't do much. But if it does something, it's going to be good. So I have that full trust in this plant. The other ones I don't. The other ones play tricks on you. This seems to be the most elevated, which also makes it the most boring, probably. Which is why you don't see too many San Pedro ceremonies. You see a few, but you also need to carry around so much of it. So it's about making lives better.
Thank you very much, Marc. Thank you very much, Eileen, for your questions. And well, words for San Pedro. Thanks for the San Pedro, for the tradition, for the cacti. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for helping get this message out there.
Thanks to you.